day here. Thank you all for spending part of your morning with us. I've not had the pleasure of meeting you yet. My name is Stephanie Henry. I'm your neighbor on Lowell's Parkridge. Steph's mom is your neighbor over on Lowell Ridge. We are very thankful for the lovely panel that we have here today to help speak to us about community safety, how to make our neighborhood a safer place for us all to enjoy, to work, to live in, and for actually future generations who are going to be part of our community and help make it a safer place for us all to enjoy. So thank you very much, Nate and Mary, and Sandi and Kevin, for spending your time with us here today. We have a great lineup. Visions blend that you all again this morning. Let's jump into the agenda. I'm going to turn the meeting over now to Bethune. He's going to talk to us a little bit about our Confidential State Security Council. We refer to it as PESC. Bethune, take it away.
Thanks, Jen. So PESC, who are we? We're 10 volunteers in the neighborhood. We're just concerned about safety and security. We have a very unique neighborhood. One that we do differently than other neighborhoods. We're really here to create, implement, facilitate various programs, and promote safety and security. All of those and we get together over Zoom every 2 months with all items for meetings. And we formed the PSC last year. We really wanted to create a more comprehensive conversation around safety and security. Within the last year that we've been doing this, here's what we've done. We took a relationship with E and IP. We're facilitating relationship with the City of Oakland, OPD, the Police Council, and others. Facilitating national account. Conversation. That's why we work here to have that conversation. Providing monthly crime bulletins and documenting crime stats is a path to neighborhood. Safety resources. We're slowly building out our library. Should be getting something from the neighborhood about once a week of various safety and security resources. A little bit of we're just recycling right now, but every year we're trying to add a little bit more to that. Probably like a lot sale. 20 seconds. Lot sale. I'll talk about that a little more. And ultimately, we're vetting new climate change studies. I want to acknowledge the current PSC members. They work really hard behind the scenes to put all this together and do all the work that you're seeing. So if I mention your name, please stand up. I want to recognize you. Susan? Susan's out here in the back. We got Walker over here. Walking that is
Steve Tesla.
And then that's on today. Tim Engel. That's right there.
Right now, the
definitely myself. The campaign is going to be happening March 31st, April 27th. Someone will be knocking on your door. Please have a 10-minute conversation with them. We're looking for two things. Primarily, we're looking for feedback. Most of the conversation that's occurring within security has been on the group, and I don't feel it's a conversation. A lot of people feel it's not. Look at what projects there's insights about what happens. If you watch those stats, and also should be ways to make this help with target. Oh, sorry. Okay, yes. The campaigners, the people that are knocking on your door, or people is literally right next to them, trying to make sure that people who are knocking doors live on your street. There are going to be a few people who don't, but they're all friendly. We're going to look for training to make sure they understand and know what's possible. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of mention the campaigners, with the quick, just stand up, I mention your name. So on Brook Park, it's gonna be Sarah, Ursula, Marathon, Michelle, Opener, and Yvette. And then Parkridge will be, I got to be a little more, Lauren, Kay, and Vinay. On Floor Press, it will be Vinay and myself. On Norwich, will be myself, and then Jones, Matt are here. On Clerk Point, Jones, Matt, Bucky, and Kay. Parkers will be Kate, Michael, and Mark. Saddlebrook, Bob, Travis is here. Stephanie, and Yvette Saddlebrook too. We need 3 more volunteers for our the north side of Brook Park. We just don't have a lot of participation. So the girls there, we know some people live there. We want to help out. We want to the garage sale. So we've got, so we're going to do the neighborhood garage sale, March, April 22nd, 9 AM to 1 PM. The idea here is to push it off the streets. I did get out your garage and a car inside. With a car inside, less inventory is right? But ultimately, the idea is bring us together. Visit your neighbors, build one of the teams. It's called April 2020 in Bethune. Y'all did it small. The energy there was incredible. It's a kind of replication. What are some things we're looking to do this year? We want to grow closer to the neighborhood watch and the neighborhood police council. We need Parkridge representatives. We can't do everything ourselves. We want to help facilitate relations. We also want to grow closer to other neighborhoods, HDs nearby. We are all invited to the Hill Press annual meeting. Again, quickly, I'm not sure if you say we show up. It's kind enough to invite all of us. The happy hour, free food, showcasing all of your food. We are also looking to look at the feasibility of other insurance. So roadblocks, stickers on cars, and it's not all security related. We're also looking to post emergency response training as we in the fall. We are very unique geographically, and so we have some nuance that our neighborhood can show. And lastly, we're constantly adding new ideas to football. Lastly, first off, you're not on the site. There's a flyer over here at the back. Should you have to sign up? What we do. Sign up for IT. It helps reduce crime. If I came in here 10 years ago, crime was really bad. Incredibly with pushing out crime, which is very easy. Come to the PESC meeting and we do it once every 2 months. From the inner workings of how we do this. Any engagement in the PESC project, we're very talented neighborhood. We want to use some talents. For example, Ron here, he's great with AV. I'm supposed to think all stuff right now. First, it's trained in emergency preparedness. He's going to be helping out with building our emergency preparedness program for the fall. Staff is great with design. So all the pretty things you're seeing with the flyers, it's because of her. We'll just be the white piece of paper. So, and lastly, don't. We're paying the top out of our pockets. We all contribute 5, 10, 15 bucks or so to the envelope. Is holding up the jar. We'll pass it around like a little church meeting. We don't have anything that we're spending money on right now. We'll be asking for money. So yeah, there's also a deadline. Stuff like stuff.
I'll get ready.
So today, and eating follow. If we don't maintain our Don't maintain the culture. Stop this. How do we support each other? What? Thank you.
Actually have one more exciting thing to share, forgot to mention. So compliments of project with Chris and Martin, we now have a website, right? We have a Parkridge website. More things about that coming soon, but I wanted to let you know, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Thank you to everybody for your contributions. Okay, let's jump into hearing from these important people we have here today. First off, I'd like to introduce Kevin Jenkins. Born and raised here in Oakland, he is the son of two PESC employees. He is a homegrown graduate of Oakland High School. He attended Lina College, off the College of Lina. He then transferred to SF where he earned a BA in Urban Studies and Planning. He has a master's in Public Administration from CSU East Bay, or when I was a kid, Cal State Hayward. He has served on a number of communities, including the Carlton Community College Board of Trustees. He's a commissioner for the Alameda County Public Health Commission. He is president of the California Association of Black Educators. We love that you are part of the initiative and here this is today to represent District 6. Thank you for spending your time with us and so.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm so excited to be here. It was befuddling to me when I came up and I saw all these neighbors organized. I'm like, this is a wonderful thing, and this is how we change things in City Hall. The power change does not come from City Hall. The power change comes from the neighborhood, and I'm your advocate to change things in City Hall. So a little admission there, I'm going to an open house in Parkridge Estates tomorrow in which me and my girlfriend plan to put an offer in. So this is a community that I definitely want to live in, and being that I want to live in it, I want it safe and I want all of Oakland safe. So no one outbid me, don't tell your friends and neighbors about that house. So I was sent a couple of questions, and thank you for the warm introduction. Absolutely, thank you. And I want to take time to thank our school board director that helped us get Skyline to have this meeting, Valerie Batchelor. So if you see her in the streets, thank her. She went above and beyond to help us get this place this morning. So I got a couple of questions here about what my goals are for my tenure this next 4 years. And so number one is the quality of life issues in Oakland. We pay a lot of taxes and we don't get a lot of services. I think Oaklanders are proud people. We're proud to live here. This is a resilient city, but it seems like the quality of life has declined probably over the last 3 to 10 years. Quality of life is going down. You call the police, it takes a little while for you to get to them. If you call the police and file a report, it might be the next day that they come back. Windows are being broken. There are home invasions. My mother lives in the Laurel District in District 4, and she doesn't take her purse out with her when she goes to the store. And so public safety is not a statistic. It's how you feel. Do you feel safe walking in your neighborhood? Do you feel safe walking from the ATM to your car? Do you feel safe going to downtown Oakland without your windows being broken out? And too often the answer to that question is no. When I go to downtown Oakland, I leave my window down because I've had 5 windows broken out probably over the last 6 years. 5 of my windows have been busted, and oftentimes thieves aren't taking anything. A lot of the times it seems like the criminal element is winning, and we're being taught on how to be good victims. Crimes are getting more brazen, but my goals are to make Oakland an absolute safer place, to make Oakland a place where people don't think about, or where we can contain the criminal element to where things aren't so brazen. So to step back a little, the role of a city council is fiduciary, it's making legislation, but it's not administrative. And so what that means is I can't tell the police to do anything. It's punishable by a misdemeanor. I can't tell the mayor to do anything, any city department to do absolutely anything. I can advocate that they do things, but I cannot make them do anything. So there are limitations to this job. So some of the things that I absolutely want to fix besides public safety is illegal dumping. I had a cousin that just, and we can talk about. No, I think it's definitely important. It's definitely important. It's getting worse and worse, and people are getting more brazen with it. I was telling my staff that there was, I got to the gym probably about 5 a.m. in the morning, and I saw someone with 4 mattresses on their truck, and I thought they were going to dump it. And so I started following them, and then I tell myself, like, you're crazy following somebody at 5 a.m. But sure enough, when I came back, the mattresses were illegally dumped, right? And so people are not respecting our city. And we have to get to a place where we're actually enforcing the laws so that they will respect our city. So one of the biggest things that I'm going to be working on this cycle is illegal dumping. I talk about quality of life issues. So that's not just public safety, that's not just illegal dumping, that's also the roads being paved, that's also potholes, that's also being able to go to the library and it's open. And so these are issues that the city council has pledged to work on. We turned in our budget priority memos, and our office sent out a survey. Did anyone get the survey? We got to sign up for the newsletter. We got to sign up for the newsletter or follow on Twitter or follow on Instagram. But I'll make sure that we get our newsletter out. But the results of the survey were unsurprising. What do people think the #1 issue is? Public safety. Number 2?
Almost.
Close. Traffic safety. Infrastructure came up as number 3, but every single one of the council members put in potholes and street pavement as one of their priorities. So I have to be realistic on what's going on with the budget and our power to do things. We have a $120 million budget deficit this year, and the following year is 180, so 300 million over the next 2 years. And so I talked with the mayor, what's that, Wednesday? I talked with the mayor Wednesday, I had a meeting with her. And so across the board, every single department is being asked to cut 20% in their department. And so we have to figure out how we are able to cut but still deliver services in a way that's responsive to the neighbors. And so my goal is to make sure that cuts are as far away from public safety as possible. That's my pledge to you. So a little step back, when I was talking about the role and the limitations of the role, there are things that we can do. The population of Oakland is 430,000 residents. How many people in here have been to a city council meeting this year? Okay, we got one. Okay, last year. Okay, we got 2. My point is, it's the same 100 people on city council, and it would make it seem as if those people are the voice of Oakland when it comes to what we should do with public safety, when it comes to like cutting things. Those 100 people have more of a say because they're showing up. So what we can do is just show up and have our voices heard. I think the thing in what's surprising some people, they think that District 6 doesn't want the police in our district. And I say, yeah, I mean, that's a thought, but you have to come to City Hall and make your voice heard. So what I've heard from residents resoundingly is that we want the police and we want the police more present in our districts. I went to the Oakland Police Officers Association, their union, and they said, we want to police in East Oakland because that's where we're wanted. And so that's another thing that I can do without directing, is making sure that we have good relationships with the requisite departments. The biggest concerns in my district, 1, public safety, 2, economic development. I think we're devoid of major institutions such as a grocery store, banking institutions. There has been major disinvestments for the past 10 years. I mean, past decades, not 10 years, past couple of decades. So ensuring that we get that. And what I need from you, I need you guys to show up. I need you to hold our office accountable. I need you to follow the newsletter, and I need you guys to make your voices heard. I'm going to introduce you guys to Lina. She's the constituent services manager for our office, and she'll probably be the mayor of Hancock. And she wants to talk to you for a couple of minutes about she wants to talk to you about.
Good morning, everyone. It is exciting to see so many people out here on a Saturday morning. Really proud of you. I am your neighbor. I'm in Crestmont, just down the road on the other side of Reverend Road. I can walk from here. So I'm very happy that you folks are out here. I'm one of the things that I do in my work as a community engagement manager for Councilmember Jenkins is staff the NCs, the neighborhood councils, used to be known as the NCPCs, the Neighborhood Crime Prevention Councils, now called the neighborhood councils. And so, and Sandi's very active in the neighborhood councils. I would like to encourage you, in addition to this great group, to align yourself with that group as well, because that is an actual city endorsed, city sponsored group, meaning that there's a small budget, and there's a neighborhood service coordinator that is assigned to that NC. So part of what Councilmember Jenkins said, we can't give directives. Part of what that neighborhood council, neighborhood services coordinator is able to do is elevate as well. And then when they do it, and then we come in and say the neighborhood services coordinator already told you, then that makes them jump faster, higher, and all of that. So I appreciate that this group meets as an affinity group and want to keep encouraging that. But also stay very close with your neighborhood services coordinator and your neighborhood council, because again, there's budget behind it. There's a specific staff that staffs it. You guys are doing, that's me who's been on me. I think I'm coming to your house for Thanksgiving because she's the one that was lighting a fire in there. That we want to make sure that everyone has access. And one of the things that I'm happy to do with this group that I'm going to be doing with the neighborhood council is having a Legistar training. Has anyone, are folks ever heard of Legistar? You know what Legistar is? Right. Legistar is the platform that I use as a staff and all city council staff use and everyone in City Hall uses to access all things city council. So if you go to if you go on your phone and just say Legistar Oakland, the San Francisco has one, other municipalities use it as well. That's where you can access the city council meetings, find out how to get on the calls, how to find out how to have your voice heard. You're able to, if a meeting is happening at that time, say a meeting's at 1:30, you're able to go on there, click on and watch the meeting in live time, and it has the agenda. With the agenda, you find all the attachments. So if you want to go down the rabbit hole and see how we got to what we got, you can find every document attached, more than you'd ever want to know, but it's there in one place. You don't have to say, how did this come? Who said that? In the train of emails, you don't have to deal with that. It's all the documents there. If you want the summaries, it's there too. So all of that can be found there. One of my concerns is that our meetings have been virtual up until this month of March. So anyone who's available at 1:30 on a Tuesday can call in and work with you folks. There's no way of knowing, there's no way of us finding out, do they really live in Oakland? Do they really live at the address? There's nothing that makes them have to confirm who they are or where they're from. So I like to assume, that's intentions that are all Oakland folks, but we want to make sure that our Oakland folks in D6, in the hills, in the flats, and everywhere in between are empowered with knowing how to get on those calls, because we know, I know as a staff from emails and calls and meeting folks in person, how our folks in District 6 want police to show up, and we want everyone to be safe. We want everyone involved in the interaction to be safe. But part of that is having the proper staffing of police. And you'll hear, if you've been on a city council meeting, so many of those folks that get on the call talk about defunding or talk about we don't need more numbers and all of that. And that's not the case. Personally, I'm all for reform, but we need the bodies to reform. We still need people to show up when the crime happens in real time, not 3 days later, and all of that good stuff. I think we all want the same thing. We're not hearing from our voices. We're hearing from some voices, but not the people that I talk to and hear from on a daily basis. So I feel like, who is getting on those calls, saying the things that they're saying? That's fine, they can continue to do that. I want to make sure that our folks in districts that are able to get on Legistar and know how to use it, so that they too can get on the calls for the meeting or send an email that you can send to all council members. Not asking you to take all your time. It could take 10 minutes that you send an email that goes to all city council members. That too, those instructions are given on Legistar on how to do that. One click, you don't have to go and find out everyone. You could just let other council member know how D6 feels. And so that they can take that into account, because one of the things that folks talk about is equity. Okay, and you know, District 6, a large piece is Oakland, we're technically East Oakland, we just have a better view of it, right? And so folks talk about equity until it's time to put some money behind it, and then it becomes, oh, what? So we want to make sure that our voices are being heard, and that is a tool. So again, just a reminder to please stay close with your neighborhood council, because it's the official entity from the city, resources behind it, staffing behind it. The police come to that, you know, the police were invited today, they could come, they could not, but at neighborhood councils, that's part of what they're supposed to do. Okay, so just keep close with that. And then with Legistar, I'm happy to come and meet with you guys if you guys want a Legistar training, or we can let you know when it's going to happen as part of the 26X, and happy to do it as part of that. Whatever works for folks, happy to do it. We just want to make sure folks are empowered. And I give out my cell phone liberally, and you can reach me, text me whenever you'd like, and access our office that way. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, one more. I'm sorry, we're getting kicked off the stage. Please hold us accountable. I want to fight for you guys. I want my mother to feel safe walking to the ATM with her purse. I want her to feel safe walking in her neighborhood. And I want the same thing for absolutely every single one of you guys. And that's the fight that we're going to take up. And I believe that we're working together, we will do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Officer Aaron Johnson, OPD. Officer Johnson, we don't have a bio for you, so maybe we can talk about where you come from.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see all your faces, you know, in person. A lot of time I've seen you guys on Zoom. This is great. But I'm Officer Aaron Johnson. I've been with the Oakland Police Department for 7 years. I did about 4.5 years on patrol, and I've been a CRO since then. Other duties I have within the department, you know, I help with a lot of training and stuff like that. But before, you know, I have graduated from Hayward State, not Cal State. That's where I graduated from. So I tell my age a little bit. So I'm just coming in. I am your community resource officer. My partner, Officer Biss, she just came over this year. Great officer. Some of you guys saw her on that on the Zoom meeting we had. But very good officer. That's why we asked her to come over and help out. So we are the community resource officer for District 4, Police District 4, which consists of beats 20 through 25. And every beat except for 20 has an X and a Y. So we go to all those meetings, right? Before last year, it was just me trying to get to all those meetings. And this year, I'm great to have her on, and she's very good. She's gonna help me out with that, and I can do more things now. So our squad has now increased to 8. So we have 8 in the squad now. Last year we had 5, went down to 4 for all of you. So now there's 2 in each, 2 officers in each district, 4, 5, and 6, and then the 2 that we just got last Monday, they'll be assigned to help out in a district soon. So we'll find out what district they're gonna help out and split up. But. So I bring the stats, you know, I come in and bring stats. So that was one of the things that I was requested to do. And I do that for every meeting, read the stats. And this one, they wanted to compare stats with other beats, right? So you guys are 25 wide up here. So I take the stats because at the disclaimer, it takes about 30 days for crimes to get inputted into the system that we use. So I went all the way back to December, of last year. So from December of last year on yesterday's date till so from from Christmas basically to March 25th. There's one aggravated assault up here reported, right? And that aggravated assaults consist of anything from shootings, anyone that's been shootings, anyone that had injuries from shootings. Just when we get those shot spotter activations you hear about, right? When people are shooting in the air or whatever, right? Those count. So that was one. And I just want to compare to one of my other beats that I have. So beat 20 is in the Flatlands, right? It's goes from 23rd Ave, all the way, it goes from 23rd Ave up to from East 12th up until, or a little bit further down, the street, I don't know if you guys know Glasscock area and all that, but the street, and it goes to Foothill, and then it stops at, so the western border is 23rd Avenue, it stops at, around Fruitvale. So there were 31 aggravated assaults from that same time period on beat 20. So I understand, everybody, because on the meeting, we need more patrols in the area, right? But command staff looks at these stats as well. And they place the officers, say we need more officers down in this area, right? Because there's more crime going down there and it's how you deter it, right? You have more officers in that area. But you do have, every beat has a beat officer, right? So you have a beat officer. We have 3 shifts from day watch, swing shift to the graveyard shift. So you have an officer on each of those shifts that has a beat 25, but they do only, because they cover X and Y. So we don't have 2 officers for beat 25, just 1. So on a good day, there's 35 beats in the city. And a good day, there's 35 officers here covering every beat, right? But we have to take into account for vacations, people calling in sick. So sometimes there's open beats, right? They put out overtime. That's up to us to sign up for that overtime if we want to. But then there's open beats, correct? And now you have officers running from beat to beat, covering, and that's due to staffing as well. Before, when I first got on, when I first came on, we had what we call TAC units in every squad. So that was an extra officer. There were extra officers in the squad. So if someone was off, they would just fill in for that beat. But now, because of staffing, we don't have those TAC officers. We don't have those extra officers to fill in when someone's off. So we have just enough officers to fill the beats, on every shift. So that's where it comes. When there's the crime level on beat 25Y is low, that beat 25 officer is helping where the crime is high. So a lot of times calls. Yes, yes, that is correct.
Repeat the question.
She was asking if for a city of 430,000, there's 35 officers assigned each shift to cover, to help those people. They're assigned to patrol the city. Yes, that is correct. So, and then also when a critical incident happens, when we have critical incidents, when there's a shooting, when there's a homicide, that takes a whole squad to handle that homicide. So the District 4 patrol squad, which is beats 20 to 25, they're gonna be those six officers. Sometimes more when we have it, but they're gonna go handle that homicide. And a homicide could take hours to investigate, and investigators come out and everything like that can take hours. So then that takes away from you guys, correct? Takes away from you guys up here or any other beat in the district. So now we're asking patrol officers from other districts, 5, 6, maybe from West Oakland, to come out and help. So that takes away from those people. They gotta come over here to help out. That takes away from that community. So please be patient with us. We will get to your call. We are we are probably in the state, the hardest working officers in the state. So please, just be patient. Well, if you have a report, there's a lot of reports you can online, you can make property crimes, right? If you don't know the suspect, didn't see the suspect, your car was broken into when you got there, when you woke up in the morning, or wherever you're at, you can make that you can report that a crime online. There's other numerous crimes you can report online. It's very easy. All you have to do is Google. You can just go to Oakland Police Department, right? And then it's right there, tab, report a crime online. You can do it. You can also just Google Oakland Police Department online reporting.
Thank you so much. One quick question.
Yeah.
What are successful neighborhoods doing to stop crime?
You guys are successful neighborhood. You guys are successful. So keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I read these stats, right? And it's on the last meeting that we had, someone said on Zoom, an officer said, "Oh, it's great up here. You guys don't have a whole lot of problems." He's not lying, but if he's coming to you and something's happened, he shouldn't, that's kind of, I would say kind of insensitive, correct? And he shouldn't be saying that. Maybe after it's over, talk about the crime level in the area, saying the crime level is much lower. It's great, right? You guys are doing a great job up here. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep this is great. Come together, these type of things come together, help each other out where we can all, because we're all part of the community. I may not live in your community, but I'm part of your community as well. So I'm here to help. Please feel free to email me if any questions. They have my email address. So please feel free and keep up the good work up here. Really.
You heard it from him. We're doing all the right things, so we just got to dial it up some more.
But yeah. He can ask me now.
Push and hold. Push and hold.
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry. My sense is from what you're saying is that it sounds like there's not a lot of crime in here. And if it's only based on how people are reporting. In other words, I think a lot of us feel like, why bother? Like when our catalytic converter was said, why bother? When your car gets broken into. So what I think I'm hearing you say is that people, even if you think it's not going to do any good, it will do good if you report the crime.
%, report. I say that in every meeting I go to, report, because it gets in these stats. It will come about, and that's how I know where to direct my fellow officers.
Because I just want to say that when my home health nurse was mugged right outside our house, and the police, thank goodness, showed up. I think one of the officers said they didn't think there was a lot of crime up here. And I don't feel safe anymore on the street. I feel like I am a sitting duck. So I just want to say to people, please report. Thank you.
Well, and I don't want you to feel that, but I don't want you to feel that, okay? Myself and my partner, we try to touch every beat every day. We have a lot going on. We have a lot of projects that we're working on. But you'll see us around.
Hi, I'm Brian. So since you guys are looking at statistics, I'm just wondering, is there in existence or could there be in existence a way for us to more easily report things that we know won't rise to the level of a car coming out, a unit coming out, but at the same time, we want to put it in so somebody sees it, and then they can decide if they want to reach back out to us, and also you keep the information, because I think as you're hearing, sometimes there is a little bit of frustration. We understand the situation, so we also understand that we may not, some people may not report something that maybe they should report, because the idea of being on the phone for an extended period of time, and then maybe feeling kind of funky about, like, why am I calling in something that isn't rising to a level that is required currently through the staff. So that's my question. Is there another way that we can put information to you guys without having to get on the phone and take somebody, offline for while they're talking to us in person?
Yeah, so you can feel free to email myself or my partner. Also with the on the phone, you can call the non-emergency line and just report whatever you're going to report, get an incident number, and then you can forward that incident number to me, and I can follow up from there. Okay. Email.
Yes, we will, post meetings, send out contact information for everyone on the panel if they're comfortable with that. We'd be happy to share that with the community.
Oh, okay, you have to run. We'll take 3 questions.
Hello?
Okay, thank you very much for coming. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Thank you. Thank you. It's another country, but I got my shots. So here's my question, because it's just terminology. We talked about a beat. Growing up where I was, a beat meant the officer was the beat officer, meant they were walking around the neighborhood. You saw them, they said hello to the kids. They were there to meet people in the neighborhood. I think we're a pretty big district, 20. And X and Y, I don't quite understand, but that just makes it bigger. Where are the beat officers? Do they drive down Brook Park every day? Because I don't usually see them unless there's an incident. So I'm just curious what beat really means.
So every officer is assigned a beat. They pick it at the draw, whatever the seniority and all that is. But they're assigned a beat. But like I said before, no, you're not gonna see the officers walking around. There's so many calls on the board. When you look, I didn't look today, but yesterday, last night, there had to be at least 50 calls standing just in East Oakland. So they're not gonna be walking around out in the neighborhoods or anything like that. They have a beat, and that's the area they're assigned to, that beat. But like I said, they can be dispatched citywide. just to clear calls, okay? We do have, the mayor did bring back, the walking unit. She did bring that back, that starts downtown, but the command staff, I know, Captain Bassett and our lieutenants in District 4 have put out overtime for walking in District 4. Those officers are gonna be mainly in the business areas, but they will patrol around. I've asked if they can patrol around Parkridge and the areas up here as well. So hopefully you'll see them.
Again, thanks for coming. My question is a little bit different. So your stats are going to show you a certain perspective of the crime that's happened. And we as a community spend a lot of effort looking out for things more preventatively. No less than once per day. We have cars slow rolling through the neighborhood, cruising, looking for, easy hits, whatnot. So I just kind of want to put it out there. We're all watching, but every single day we have people in our neighborhood looking to do that. And we don't know how to safely stop it, right? What else can we do besides send out emails and say, watch your blinds? And that's mentally taxing. So.
Yeah, I mean, as I just say, be safe. Don't do anything you don't think you should do, okay? Be safe. Cameras, I know that's a great tool, the cameras, so we can get a look at these cars, right? If there's an issue and nothing happened and nothing was to report, they just slow roll through or anything like that. Like I said, I don't mind looking at those cameras. I don't mind looking at those cars. So say, hey, this car slow roll through, try to get a plate, license plate. Okay, so. Yes. So yes, also get video surveillance here, because those cars, a lot of times are connected to other crimes, not just in your area, but other areas within the city. Okay, so definitely.
Hi, Mark Silverman. Recently, PG&E crews have been under attack by people robbing them with all the tools and everything. And recently, in our neighborhood, there was some gas work going on for the entire day, and there was a police car stationed with them the entire day. So I'm wondering, we have such a lack of resources. Why isn't PG&E hiring their own security? And why are they using our limited security?
So that PG&E has paid for it. So that's coming out of PG&E. It's third party. They're paying for it. They went through the city. And went through the contracts to do that with our special events coordinator and through the city of Oakland. They're paying for that, and it's all on overtime. But these officers are working on overtime to do that. It's not straight time. No, because that officer would normally be off. It was on his off day. So it's not taking a resource from you. Correct. So they're in full uniform. They have full police powers and everything, but it's on overtime that they're working.
Thank you so much for being here today. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to move on next to another layer of security that we feel very strongly about, and that is our partners here with Intervention Group. And again, we're going to have more Q&A at the end of the webinar. So if you've not met Nate Cook yet, this is Nate with Intervention Group. Intervention Group came into business in 2005. Nate has been working in our community since 2014. I'm sure you've seen their patrols around our neighborhood. I don't know if you know this, but less than half of the homes in our neighborhood are contributing to IG, and yet everyone, I believe, is benefiting from the service. So I encourage you all, if you can, to listen to Nate, to talk to your neighbors about all the benefits I believe this brings our entire community. And if you're able to please join us in helping contribute whatever you can so we can have more hours, more patrols, and make this a safer place. So Nate, welcome and thank you.
I think she said it all. Happy Saturday, to everybody as well. Great turnout as well. It's good to put on our faces with the names as well. Couple of facts that we were going to try to just run through this for you guys. The number to call, it's not my number. But I will pick up, it's okay. The 877 number, because we have 272-8765, because we have a lot of different alarm systems, sometimes they don't take the 877 number, so we have a couple 510 numbers that are accessible so that you have the home alarm response. Clearly the patrols, the unlimited calls for assistance, the vacation watch and the home alarm response are the tools that we've looked at with the other companies and said, what can we offer to the residential communities and not charge you guys for it, right? One of the things that makes it very advantageous for Parkridge is the amount of communities that we have within this area. So therefore, we try to spread the costs. That helps. I think that when do you call IG or when do you call OPD? I think that anytime that you suspect a crime, you call OPD so that it can get reported. But you give us a call. If we feel like we need to call OPD, we will do so as well. One of the things that I definitely want to urge homeowners is use us as that third-party vendor rather than making contact with anybody that you see as being suspicious. It just takes a lot of the burden off of you guys. And time again, I talk to a lot of homeowners that I'm looking outside of my window and the people are seeing me. So that's a very, very, very big concern for us. Use us to that advantage as well. I don't want any help, but we definitely appreciate the council, Kevin, OPD, everybody coming together and just understanding that we are a layer of deterrent, just like locking your car, just like the videos, just like a lot of different things. So anything that makes these criminals pause gives you guys that sense of relief, and we're happy to be a part of that. So call us, because just putting us in the area is adding to that patrol frequency as well. And obviously those have went up over time as well. So we do pay attention to the Parkridge Google group. I don't respond. So when that does come through, that does initiate a patrol as well. The way that we tailor our patrols is based off of the activity that is going on. So we have the ability to change on what's going on. Clearly the Cadillac converters and the theft were going on in the AM hours, and then you had the PM hours, and you had, different things going on. So we do tailor our patrols for that reason, and you utilize your resources as well. We can continue to talk, but I think everybody has a question.
What are some of the trends you're seeing in terms of claims?
I mean, I think that they are the same, right? And after 10 p.m., you're looking at car break-ins and guys that are just driving around looking for those opportunities. Or you're looking at after 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., those are particularly the times when people are trying to break into homes because they think people are away. It's just been unfortunate that sometimes those have been when people have been home, but the majority of times that they don't really want to involve anybody. They want to come in interaction. They're looking for that opportunistic situation. It's just been a situation that daytime hours have been attributed to home break-ins and the PM hours car break-ins and that sort of thing.
Gotcha. What are some of the successful strategies you're seeing other neighborhoods employ?
I think the visibility, right? Just the fact of the matter, having eyes and ears and observing and reporting. So these guys don't have that amount of time. Because what we realize is that when they come from Montclair, they either come this way or they'll come Sequoia and they'll go that way. Right. So let's say, yeah, I live over here in Parkridge, but you were just in Montclair. You live in both places. I only have one home. So they're like, you guys are everywhere. So that allows us to understand
what's going on. When you guys call and say this vehicle is there, it puts us on a lookout. So I would say right now, during our AM shift, we probably have 4 cars throughout the open hills that are kind of moving. We have 2 that are just kind of rotating and moving around. So that's the reason why we're able to respond fast. Well, we don't have to worry about the whole city. So we're kind of for you guys. So that's the reason why we're able to respond.
We play a little game, pro and con, if I just throw a few things, I want to hear kind of
You said play a game?
play a game.
Okay. No, it's not, right? I feel, is it like Vegas? A little bit. Go ahead.
So pros and cons of 24-hour patrol.
You have somebody to call, pros.
Okay.
The cons are everybody wants to see us, right? You know, when you go down to Campus Drive and, you know, you see that car sitting there, that runs them around $25,000 a month.
Gotcha. So there's a cost issue at some point. Okay. Daytime versus nighttime patrol.
I really think it depends on the homeowner. A lot of people, when they're away, they want their home watched. A lot of people, when they're at home, they like to know that somebody is out there watching them.
Okay.
I think the ability to cover the same area in an effective manner helps. If I have my choice,
Gotcha.
you know, I would like to have somebody I can call. However, I don't think a lot of people will be up at 2 a.m, you know, so sometimes that is a little tricky, but I like the fact that I can have a 24-hour clock to be able to call somebody if I had to choose.
Absolutely. Roving versus static patrol. Maybe you could define.
So static is when you go to the bank and the guy is there while he's just there. Roaming means he's gonna drive around. The odds of you seeing him may not be as great. And that's the reason why we added the unlimited calls, because no matter how many times they come or you call, we can come back in the area. I think that has to be an imperative component if you're gonna have the roaming patrol, just because you leave gaps.
Yeah. All right, last question, which is not part of the game, but what do you need from us as a community to help you with these concerns?
Unfortunately, you have your nucleus strong base that believe in the patrols and believe in that. And unfortunately, it's human nature that the only thing that's going to move the needle tremendously is crime.
Okay.
When something catastrophic happens, my phone picks up.
Crime is good marketing, you're saying, for you.
Man, it's my best friend and my worst enemy if you're my customer, right? And unfortunately, if something happens to me, it impacts me a little bit more than my neighbor, no matter. I don't want anything to happen to my neighbor, it just impacts that. So I think that the ability to stay with these things and continue to have the conversations and be proactive is one of the things that definitely help outside of crime. We don't wish for crime, but we appreciate the breaks. It's been a nice week and a half, you know, it's been kind of quiet, you know what I mean? No, we're neighbors as well, so we understand how things are, but it's been knock on wood, good to have a little bit of break. Of different things. It's a cat and mouse game. It's going to continue to do that, but I think the fact of the matter that we all care definitely helps.
Absolutely. Here's my pitch to you guys. We need 2 hours of static patrol per day. I think that'd be really good. Someone just sitting at the corner, making the presence known. We could do this 1 of 2 ways. We could either all increase the current base of restricting by 75%, or we could ask 70 new homes to participate. I prefer to get more people involved than just trying to get the people who are already participating to pay more. So we'll take a look at it this way, right? If we all invest in our neighborhood, we all do better. So let's all invest in the neighborhood. Okay. Sandi, you're up. Thank you, Nate. Thank you for supporting us. Sandi Bethune is a resident of our neighboring community, Sequoia Hills. You've been here 48 years?
Yeah.
48.
48 in the community all my life.
Wow. She wears several hats. She's president of the Sequoia Hills Homeowners Association, chairperson of the Environmental Committee. She's also chairperson of the Neighborhood Police Council, NPC. You'll hear that a lot now. For Area 4 Beat 25 block. Yep. Also born in San Francisco.
Yeah, I was born in San Francisco, but we lived in
West Oakland for 6 years. Family moved to North Oakland. You have 2 homes here. 2,
My parents.
This is home. And she loves Oakland. So tell us about NPC. We don't know much
NPC.
about it, so.
First of all, good morning, Parkridge State. Thank you for coming. And thank you for allowing me to speak to you a little bit about the NPC and some other things that you may be interested in. So in 1996 is when Oakland sanctioned the NPC. And I think Lina mentioned it earlier. The name we go by today is the Neighborhood Police Council. And we meet once a quarter. And prior to the pandemic, we would meet at the church down at the bottom of the hill. I think it's called Sequoia Church, but the one where you go into the entrance to the freeway. And we have representatives that we call them sector representatives that will come to the meeting, and then they spread the word out to their communities of what was discussed at the meetings and bring back any questions the next time. However, as you know, the pandemic changed a whole bunch of things, and the meetings are held on Zoom. Although the next meeting we're hoping to have it live, but as you can see, it's pretty expensive to come to one of the school, but we're hoping that the church allows us to do it again at no charge. So a lot has been said today that relates right to the NPC. And that is, we have the two community resource officers. That was Officer Johnson that was here. And we have a new officer, this. And for those of you who were on the Zoom call, you heard both of them speak. Some of your problems are the same problems in the city, in the community, on your street. They're pretty much the same. And so at the NPC, we talk about those things, just like Officer Johnson earlier spoke about the statistics and things like that. And Lina also alluded to the fact that this is a sanctioned city program. And that means people have to show up that are committed to it. And what we have done in the past at the NPCs is your community, my community, Ridgemont, comes together and talk about those things that are happening in the community that we want our police officers to know about, because statistics are statistics, but if somebody comes and knocks me upside my head, I want help right now. I don't really care about what's going on someplace else. And so, and then our CROs are supposed to gather all of that information. And if something specific happening right in your community, I would say on a real regular basis, then it's up to them to try to help resolve whatever that problem is. Another part of the NPC that has been extremely helpful is we invite someone from the city department to come and talk to us about public works. Actually, public works is probably the one that we get the most, because so much is a part of public works. So you got trees, you got streets, you've got all of those different entities. And believe me, you can learn a lot. You think you might know how things are run, but you don't know until you hear it come from the person who is over that department. And I am hoping that our next meeting, and I think it's in May, but we'll get that date out to you. But we're going to, I'm asking for someone from Public Works to come and talk to us about streets again. I have been pushing for my street, Surrey Lane, to be repaved since 2017. Hasn't happened yet. We're at the end of the line, but I'm not through fighting about it because I want that to be pushed up. One of the questions that you had here for me is about what happens in our neighborhoods and or what's unique about them. Well, there's probably some uniqueness to every community, but there's so much the same. What are we talking about? We're talking about crime. What kind of crime happens in our areas? Well, we get a lot of car vandalism, catalytic converters, but I just can't tell you how much I agree that report, report. That's another avenue to get our CROs engaged in our communities. Now, there was a time before, things have gotten out of control, is that we would see our CRO patrol in the area a lot more, driving through. We're a neighborhood of about 400 homes. How many homes are in Parkridge? Does anybody know? Oh, so you're smaller than we are. Okay. But that doesn't happen as much as it used to, but we're also clients of IGI. We started about a year and a half ago, I think, Nate, and we have the same challenge that you have, and that is we want to get more people to sign up so we have more time with the static patrol as well as the drive-through. We wish we could be like the Ridgemont area that has that $25,000 a month person sitting there all the time. If you've come from Safeway, you've probably seen that person sitting there. And then if you come up Keller and go on campus, don't you have a camera or something at that end? So we're all trying to achieve the same thing. We all want to be safe. Kevin talked about how he worries about his mother. Well, my son worries about me too. And I'm sure if you have children, they worry about us because, as I said, I'm a lifer. And so I remember when I was a kid, my brother and I used to walk downtown by ourselves. Wonderful city. We love it, but we don't love it the way it is right now. And we all hear, about the crime. There's, historically, there used to be this division about the hill area getting more services than the flatlands and vice versa. But it is one city and everybody deserves to be safe. Let's see, what other questions did you have for me?
Yeah, what are other successful neighborhoods doing to sabotage?
Well, I think they're doing exactly what you are. Number one, you have to stay cohesive as a group. The Shadow Woods condos down on Keller is part of our NPC. The condominiums, when you get on the freeway right there at Edwards, they have started coming to our NPC meetings. And we need someone from your community because there's no way for us to get the word out to everybody if we don't have a single point of contact or somebody within the community that comes to the meetings. One of the reasons, I'm not so sure that I agree with it, but one of the reasons we don't send out minutes to these meetings is because we want people to show up. And the theory is if we send out meeting notes, then people will come. So if we could get someone, a few of you to come to our meetings, we're still on, this was our last Zoom. Like I said, we'll find out where we can meet live the next time we have a meeting. And we're hoping it will be at the church.
Last question is, other than showing up, what are other things that we can be doing to help you?
Well, I don't know that there's anything specific other than getting the word out. And as you know, I sent you an email because I think we can collaborate outside of NPC, because you can believe that that car is driving slow through your neighborhood. They're probably going to come to ours a little bit later. So I sent a message and I said, hey, why don't we do this? If we see something going on in our neighborhood, we've got a bunch of, we have a lot of people with cameras. We do see a lot. We can pass that information to you so you can be on the lookout. We can send it to your security and then you can send it out to your the residents of Parkridge. That's one thing I think that would be a really good thing for us to do. And our neighborhood is really a tight-knit neighborhood. We support each other just like what I heard you all do here. And it seems like whenever there is, say people are breaking into windows and stuff like that, it's almost like they're on our email list, because then we are really, we're looking out, and we have a lot of retired people in our neighborhood, like me, who's looking out all the time. and then it backs off. And then we have a lull, like right now, we have a lull that just started, but we had one night on camera, 3 hits, just breaking windows, you know, and it's really vandalism, but who wants their windows broken out? We have had an occasional car stolen, and we've had people who are dumping their stolen cars in our neighborhood. So we're real diligent. If we see a car that has been parked in a location for more than 72 hours, we call it in, especially if it's a car that we know doesn't belong to, you know, a neighbor or something like that. So those are the kinds of things that we can do, and we're hoping you're doing the same kinds of things. And we can just work together. As you heard, I mean, there's not enough of staffing in the city of Oakland to get a lot of things done that should be done. Our police staffing is lower than it's almost ever been. I know they have some academies going on right now, but we just have to work together the best that we can and hope and pray that our city can get back to the great city that it is, because it's not right now. It's fact.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
We are almost caught back up on time, so we're gonna leave about 20 minutes for questions. So, okay, let me steal that mic from you.
Thank you very much. So if there was anything that was kind of relatively good about the pandemic, is that a lot of us had to meet on Zoom. And that increased substantially the participation of people with disabilities. So this is a message for you and everybody else. I understand why everybody wants to get back together, but unless you have a hybrid meeting and it really works, you're now filtering out a whole bunch of people that may want to participate. So I really have to urge you, I know we all want to get together, but these Zoom meetings enable people with disabilities, older folks, to participate. And our access to meetings like this is really essential.
Okay, thank you, panel, for coming and spending your morning with us. We really appreciate it. And I want to thank the PESC committee too for bringing us all together. Okay, I have a question and a concern. It's about the garage sale. I thought I read somewhere where it was going to be sent out on social media so we could get people to come in to the neighborhood. Is that correct?
Okay, I will respond to that. So we do have a community garage sale planned. I think it's April 22nd. It is optional participation. You can do it in your own driveway. You can give things away for free. You can make charges. You can do whatever you choose to do. Our goal is to help people hopefully clean out their garages and get cars back into garages. Okay, let's get the cars off the street, put them back into the garage. So this is one layer, one thing that we're trying to do to help the community, right? We've got OPD, we've got cameras, we've got IG. It's just one thing. We, as a committee, since we heard the community say they didn't want us to advertise it on social media ourselves, as a committee, we will not do that. Now, as an individual homeowner, we can't stop anyone from taking that announcement to their social network. So something may go out, but on behalf of the committee, we heard that that was not wanted, and so we will not do it as a council. Is that fair?
Yeah. Are we gonna have, or will you be circling the wagons and or will the?
Yes, so the question was, will we have IG on notice of that event and will they be providing extra protection? Yes, thank you so much for that. That is great. And
dumpsters have been ordered so that the city will be providing with waste management some dumpsters. So for folks want the huge dumpsters, they'll be ordered for you folks. So folks will also have opportunity to throw trash. So we'll just be people getting rid of things, but you have opportunity to actually throw it out in those dumpsters that are provided, the dumpster that's provided. But it's a huge one, but the kind that you'd use for a construction site.
And we understand that in the past, there's been some issues with some dumpsters. It will be dropped off on a Friday and picked up on Monday. I do not believe in that time frame that we should have any issues.
We will have rules posted on the dumpster. We will send out by email. And I think we always, the thing that we always have to remember is that just because we had a bad experience once, doesn't mean we can't make it better the next time. We have to continue to keep thinking, hey, this is for a good reason. We just keep working through it and solve the problems.
So I had a question for Nate and Kevin. Nate, for the last couple of incidents we've had up here, I've been emailing into your email address, the Yahoo address, photos or video evidence of suspect vehicles or people. Are you getting that? And is it getting pushed out to the responding units? And does that help?
Yeah, that definitely does help. And as soon as that does come in, it's either initiating a patrol. A lot of people email, a lot of people text. So those are very helpful for us. And it is kind of monitored 24 hours, that email as well. So maybe it might be confirmation to get back to you to let you know what we're kind of doing, and probably something we need to do on our end, but those are very helpful for us. And those do get sent out to our guys as well.
Okay, thanks. One other question for Kevin. It seems to me that we could make a huge dent with, I know you can't tell OPD what to do. But if we could just get two little things start being enforced, I think it would help across the entire city. License plate enforcement, including registration and window tint. Why are we not enforcing that? I just get this feeling someone's telling OPD to not do that, not cover that.
I think you're right. So the city of Oakland has to adhere to the Privacy Commission. And a lot of the things that come with the Privacy Commission, cameras in different spaces. We as a city can't put cameras on our property without going through the Privacy Commission. And so we have to figure out who's going on those privacy commissions and ensuring that they're balanced. But license plate readers are something that I've talked to the administration about, and I'll also talk with them about the tints. And I'll try.
It's not just the readers, but making people have plates on their cars,
Yeah.
front and rear.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of my biggest thing is in the budget priority memo that we sent out was traffic enforcement, right? It has been enforced for a while, and East Oakland is a freeway in which stop signs mean nothing and red lights mean nothing as well. And so we have to get back to a place where people are obeying the laws. And I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, and I will bring it up with the administration.
Hi, everybody. Oh, sorry. Okay, thanks for coming. I just wanted to throw out some tips about porch pirates. Early on, we found the convenience of eBay, Amazon, and all the online shopping. It only got bigger during the pandemic, so people were stuck at home and had groceries, meals, just everything coming to us via big blue, brown, whatever color trucks. We've been victims. We've caught people stealing things off our porch. And I just want to throw out some things you can do to help prevent that type of theft. Again, most crime is opportunistic. So when they see a box, it's like, oh, that's an attraction for a crime. Our little pocket of Lower Parkridge, we know almost every person within a stone's throw of our house. And we watch their door, they watch our doors. If we see a box on Bhakti's, I'll move it so it can't be seen. If I see one on Debbie's, I'll pick it up and I'll call her and say, Debbie, are you home? I've got a box for you. Those are the kind of things I think you can do. Reach out to your neighbors, look out for them, have them look out for you. Again, it's a community, and that's how we help prevent crime. We can't stop it, but we can prevent it. And these are some of the things we can do. You can have a box put on your front porch, like a bench has an opening, and you can direct UPS, Amazon, USPS to put your packages in that box, just so you can't be seen. Some of them are pretty good about putting boxes where they can't be seen. Some people just walk up, chuck it, and they're done, they're out. Okay, we get it, you're minimum wage, you're not gonna do a whole lot of extra to prevent this crime. But that's one of the things you can do. There's also ways to enable your garage door via Wi-Fi apps to give Amazon the ability to put your packages inside your garage. If you want more information about that, and how to set that up, it can help you with that. It will literally walk up to your house, open your garage, put your packages inside your garage, close your garage, walk away. That just takes one less attraction for crime from our neighborhood as a whole. So I just wanted to address the porch pirate issue, because it does seem to be a consistent thorn in everyone's side. And there are some things we can do to help prevent it. So my little 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Other questions?
Hi, I'm Sherry. I have a question about reporting potholes. I know that the city has a problem with the ransomware and stuff. I'm wondering if it's up and running so that we could do that. I drive to work, I go down Keller and go across the overpass, and that intersection at Fontaine is like driving on the moon. And I'm trying, everybody probably thinks I'm weird because I'm going like this and like this to try to get around the potholes. So I'm wondering if that's up and running again. Do you know that we can do that? Because I've done it in the past and it's worked, so.
Yeah, so yes, 311 is back up. Please do put in tickets. I talked with the mayor Wednesday and I had a conversation with her about potholes, because it seems like some of these potholes are big enough to have zip codes of their own. And she said that we're going to be doing a pothole blitz in which we're going to be filling them as soon as the rain stops. And so she asked for our office to give her 3 corridors of areas that we want potholes filled in immediately. So please email us, let us know, and definitely we'll get it done as soon as it stops raining.
Email you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Lina put her email up there, or email me and call me.
Thank you. In regard to pothole filling, a lot of them don't work. You know, I don't know what material is being used, but it's lousy. You know, it just kind of sinks in again. Is there any way that we can make sure that something's used that works? Because by the time, you know, it's got to last, it's repaid, which may never.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. I talked to him, Gardner, who was the former city administrator, I think in the early 80s, and he was saying once Prop 13 passed, we were repaving street, or before Prop 13 passed, we were repaving streets every 30 years. Once Prop 13 happened, it's every 80 years. Right. And so, I mean, well, the taxes are able to stay low. But so we have issues, but I'm on the Public Works Committee, and that's something I'll make sure that we're following up with whatever companies that we're contracting with, that they're giving the best service to Oakland and they're using the right products so that they fill them and then they stay filled, as opposed to we have to keep filling them every time there's a bad rain. Yeah.
Hi, thank you. I first want to thank our neighborhood, like all the emails and the videos and all that stuff. I just really appreciate it. Nate Cook, your people are fantastic, as are you. Thank you. And I'd like to just kind of underscore what Councilmember Jenkins said earlier about like, kind of I'm thinking about like that statistic about like one, you know, thing happened here versus 41, you know, in another area. And I think it does come back to like, how safe do we feel? And the answer is no. We don't. Like, and I just worry about the impacts of crime on so many different aspects of our community. For example, our economic vitality. People are not shopping here. They're going to other places. We're losing tax money. We have a neighborhood that's changing over. We have a lot of beautiful young children in our neighborhood. I worry that they're not going to come to Skyline High School many years from now because the parents are going to be, you know, whatever, afraid of crime, or they don't feel the schools are good enough. So I don't really know what I'm saying, except for I appreciate what everybody's doing. And I think it all comes down to respect. The illegal dumping is about not respecting our community. Crime is about not respecting each other and financial woes. And I just appreciate your efforts. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I think you're absolutely right about that. And if you're illegally dumping, first you have to have respect for yourself before you can have respect for somebody else. And there's a lot of people out there that don't have respect for themselves, and that's why they're breaking in cars, legally dumping and doing all these things. And I think we have to continue to work together, and this is a good start and a good example of how you bring power together. But we also have to bring in other relevant stakeholders. We have to bring in the district attorney, ensure how we're dealing with crime. We have to bring in the board of supervisors. All level governments that need to be responsible to you need to come in here, because it's a collaborative effort, and it's not just the city. I will always be here. I will always fight for you, but we have to bring in the other stakeholders as well. And we have to get to a place where people respect our community.
We got time for about 4 questions roughly. Cool. Hey guys. So quickly on the topic of road conditions, for those who aren't aware, there are 2 public websites I can send out the links to. One of them is called the Pavement Condition Index, I think. And it basically is an Oakland study that's done every couple of years. And they, on a map, you can see the colors of how shitty the different streets are, right? They rank them. And so you can kind of see, Oakland recognizes, and they're doing this study, and so you can see how things have changed over time. The other map is the 5-year repavement plan. So you can actually see what specific streets, what segment of what street Oakland plans to repave in 2024, 2025, 5 years out from now. They have it all charted out. So good to know, right? Glimmer of hope that things are happening, and it gives you some visibility. Nate, little feedback for you. So I'm a new member to the neighborhood, not a member of IG yet. One of the reasons was when I saw the contract initially, I said, okay, we get so many patrols per month. If 50 more people sign up, we still getting 6 patrols per day. Good to hear that more signups will mean more visibility. I think it would be helpful if that kind of a rate chart was in the contract, right? If we have 120 houses, this is the amount of response we get. 150 houses, this is the amount of response, right? It incentivizes more people to actually pay into the system, and I will be signing up.
Yeah, Brian again. So I just wanted to say really quickly on the incident of crime that. Oh, sorry, yeah. On what's been going on, I mean, I think it's also important for us to realize that a lot of the kids that are coming by and doing Southeastern crime, a lot of times they're pretty young, and also a lot of them now are carrying weapons. I work in a group home in West Oakland, and I hear and see the stories of how these kids get into juvenile hall, and it's just amazing to see how young some of these kids are, and the fact that they carry weapons and they use them. So I think that's one of the reasons why I think we have to be relying on IG and OPD. A lot of us have a tendency of wanting to go out and question people, and under the right circumstances, I think if we're respectful and polite and try to understand why people are there. We had an incident last night in our neighborhood where there was a house party out of the blue that was really out of control, and it was a weird situation because on the one hand, many of us felt like we needed to contact IG and OPD, but on the other hand, I think we recognized it was just kids wanting to party, but the circumstances of it were not appropriate. So anyways, I think it's just important to be very, very careful, because the rules on the street are changing, and we just have to be very mindful of them.
I had a question for Nate. If I, for instance, if my home is being broken into and I call OPD and then I call IG, what exactly can IG do?
The moment that it's a crime, we can't do anything. So that's the short answer. What we've done a lot of times that a home alarm goes off is try to do the best we can to support the homeowner. A lot of times we're eyes and ears when you're not away. When your alarm goes off, you just don't know what's going on. Each situation is different, but the moment that there is a crime that is escalated, we are unharmed. So it is a very, very dangerous situation for our guards to be into as well. So we do our best to be eyes and ears and be a deterrent. So initially, our strongest advocate is being there before something happens. The moment something happens, we're really a supporting staff for you.
You just clarified, OPD is not IG is not OPD. We don't want to confuse them, but they complement. We want to make sure we have all the complements in place. Okay, I think there's a question in the middle. No? Okay, maybe not.
Is that everyone? Anyone else? Last chance.
Kevin, question about, the privacy commission. How can we bring heat on them to change their view on license plate readers? And then again, license plate readers do not help us if pulling somebody over without a plate or having fully tinted windows for a police stop. I mean, that should be probable cause. If we look at everybody's cameras, we look at everything in the neighborhood that goes wrong in the neighborhood, we already know what the profile is. Number of males aged from 15 to 30 cruising around in a car with tinted windows and no plates. I mean, that should be a red flag to everybody in this neighborhood. The other thing is legislation by some of our local lawmakers. Nancy Skinner passed a law last year to decriminalize unarmed robbery. In other words, for everybody out there who is a senior, you should be aware that she passed legislation that pushed on a purse snatching or other type of strong arm robbery down to misdemeanor level. In other words, unless your loss is over 1,000 or unless you were hospitalized, that person is now going to be released. So where do you stand on these things?
So a couple things. So how many of you guys are familiar with Oakland's NSA, the negotiated settlement agreement? Oakland's NSA, negotiated settlement agreement. Are you guys familiar with Oakland Riders? Yeah, okay. So for 20 years, we've been under the NSA, right? And so there are all these different reforms that we have to do, and we've been paying roughly about $1.5 million a year to a federal monitor to monitor our police department. So recently, the police chief was fired. Right? And I'm going to get to your point. I'm just going to take a couple of twists and turns to get there. Recently, the police chief was fired, and the federal monitor is always watching what the Oakland Police Department is doing and what the city council is doing. We want out of the NSA. We absolutely want out of it. It's draining our resources and hampering our ability to enforce crime. I mean, enforce laws and enforce ordinances. And so there are a number of reforms that we had to do. One was creating the police commission. And so one of the things we can do, I mean, you can do it, license plate readers is what you want, is pressuring the police commission as well. Also, when it comes to the privacy commission, showing up to those meetings, we have a vacancy on the community policing advisory board for this district. So if people are interested, you're welcome to apply and get on that board. As far as what Nancy Skinner does, I'm not familiar with the legislation. As I told you guys earlier, I want my mother to feel safe. I want my mother to be able to walk and enjoy her golden years. I don't want her to have the fear that she's going to be a victim of somebody robbing her. To your point about the 15 to 30-year-olds that are in cars and they have tinted windows because of the NSA, well, not because of the NSA, but we can't profile as a police department. That's not something that we can do. And I think after the monitor is gone, we're not going to be profiling. So
that's an equipment violation. It's not a profile.
But it's profiling when you say age range, right? That's if the license plate isn't on there, right? Or like the sensor deed, that's something else, right? And that's an administrative function. It's not necessarily a council function. So I hope you had a lot of things. I hope I addressed at least 80 or 90% of them.
Nate, if you don't profile, how long are you gonna live?
I hope I live a long time.
In your line of work, if you do not profile, how long are you going, what's your life expectancy?
I think that our approach is to greet people in a politely friendly manner, accepting assistance, regardless of who they are. If they're friendly, they're gonna approach us a lot differently than those that are not. So we go from the approach of, making contact and efforts to, we don't know if they're committing a crime or not, but we want us to be seen and make our presence felt. At that point, we can make a determination. So we have been mistaken as discrimination. I'm a minority business owner, so we have been, that scale is very thin when you are approaching people in different ways. But the way we look at it is just by addressing people, asking assistance regardless of what, and take that information there. So I think for us, the information that we're able to receive allows us to be able to do that. But if I just see my little cousin or somebody in the tenant windows, baggy jeans, cornrows, more times than not, those have been the ones that have been doing something suspicious. But we've also been on the other end and they belong as well.
As we say, it's 15 to 30-year-olds went cruising our neighborhood when people are either all asleep or people are all at work. What's suspicious? It's not 3 or 4 people in a car. It's 3 or 4 people cruising, school age or work age kids cruising around in the neighborhood when everybody else is at work or when everybody else is asleep. This morning, I woke up to hear what I thought was a sideshow about to start over at the juncture of Saddlebrook and Brook Park. There were a couple of people. There was one car lit up playing loud music, and there were 2 cars behind him with no lights. Are these people up to any good? Probably not. By the time I get to call Nate or anybody else, they'll probably be gone. And then I'll be the crank they're gonna start saying we're crime wolf, or we're calling out people for looking different from us or behaving differently from the rest of us. Racially, we are diverse, but culturally, we are not. Everybody up here is a homeowner, has lived here. We all are family, we all are either parents with kids or older folks. We don't have a lot of multifamily dwellings up here. We all know our neighbors. And our neighbors don't engage in certain kinds of activities.
I just wanted to get a little clarity. When someone's driving around with tinted windows, you will see them. You don't see how old they are. I'm trying to understand, why is that a concern? If you see, the law says that you're not supposed to have tinted windows, especially on the driver's side, right? You can have them to a certain degree, but when they're blacked out, is that not against the law? To a certain degree, what degree is it? Okay, and if you do not have a license tag on the back of your car, that too would be, police could stop you and give you a ticket for that, fix it, ticket for that. I think what I'm hearing is that doesn't happen. I've been driving behind people, the police department here at Eastmont, they're the police going up and down the street all the time. I see people with black windows. They see it too. I've seen them see it, and they do nothing. So how do you get them to enforce that? Is that something that is the overseer is saying that we shouldn't do? Why are we not following law? I guess in a nutshell. Why not?
So I think it's a question for the CROs, Officer Johnson and the police department as to what their procedures are when it comes to expired tags, tinted windows, and all those things. This is Mike Sullivan. So I think what we could do is have a list of follow-up questions for Officer Johnson. Johnson, right? And I believe he'll respond to them.
Okay, Dustin, I think we have two last questions.
Two last
Okay?
questions.
Okay, Bob and then Sonia.
I don't use the microphone, but I will say, I want to talk about the young people. Is if we have 13 children in our school. Yeah, 13 children in our school. I know. Please, that's the Bible. I want to talk about those children. We have 13 children on our wall, our two bars. I am happy to have those children there. Yes. We haven't lost our hand. Anyway, we have 13 children on our block. I am happy to walk those streets. They all know me by my manner, by my voice and stuff. So I'm happy to live in our neighborhood. We've talked so much about time. Let's just talk about having a great neighborhood, having children, in our neighborhood, being able to walk those streets. You should be on those streets. You should be greeting your neighbors. That makes neighborhood.
This is probably going to be one of those follow-up questions for Officer Johnson. I'm wondering if, I know in a number of cities, because I know traffic stops by the police often become really complicated and escalate. And so I can sort of understand why our police department is probably not enforcing the tinted window and lack of driver's licenses. I mean, lack of license plates. Because they may be trying to, keep from escalating. And so I'm wondering, I know some cities are creating separate traffic, sort of separate divisions of the city that are dealing with traffic stops as opposed to policing crime. I'm wondering if Oakland is considering something like that or doing something like that.
So there's a number of functions underneath traffic safety that the city has transferred from the police units to the Department of Transportation, specifically the abandoned vehicles. And you guys will see relatively shortly, there's going to be a blitz on abandoned vehicles. As far as traffic stops, I know that Berkeley is looking at that. I'm not sure about Oakland. Right, there's a lot of things that have to be considered, and I think there's some state legislation that has to take place as well. But as of right now, I'm not sure of that.
Thank you so much to all our speakers. Oh, yep, one more thing, go for it. Real quick, wanted to just inform you folks, we talked a bit about different commissions that are out there, Privacy Commission, Community Policing Commission. There are actually 37 boards and commissions for the city, everything from what we mentioned, libraries, parks and rec, cannabis, 37 committees, and please, we invite you to look at the opportunities out there. And if there's a topic that interests you, we want to make sure we have D6 representation on all of those committees. We know you spend a lot of your time volunteering already. That is another opportunity because those commissions generate thoughts, policy, paperwork that then informs decisions that the council members make. So that's a good opportunity to get in the weeds there, if you like, on one of those 37 boards and commissions. Just wanted to put that out there. Thank you. Thank you, Lina.
So thank you so much to Lina and Kevin and Sandy and Nate and Officer Johnson. You will be invited back next year for our next town hall. And thank you so much. Put it on your calendar. I'm gonna leave you with a closing statement and a little bit of a story. I want to tell you about a lobster. Lobster's name is Herbert. And every year Herbert grows. Every year he grows, his exoskeleton is too small for his muscles. It's a shed of exoskeleton.
For a few hours, as Herbert sheds, he's really, really uncomfortable. And once he sheds, before his new shell hardens, he has no protection. He is vulnerable. But with time, as he matures, his shell protects him until the next time that Herbert has to grow again. We are all growing in this process. It's a little bit new for us. We had this 10 years ago, the new wave now. We're facing a problem we haven't had in a long time. We will try new things that will make us uncomfortable. This will be scary. I know, it's okay. We will succeed and we will fail, but we have to be vulnerable in this, both individually and jointly, to solve this community problem. And it's all okay, because we're going to do this together. Okay? So join us and do something about this problem. We're stronger together, and we can't do this without you. Thank you for your time today.